Welcome back to Theresa.is.Dead. My name is Theresa and I'm very much alive. And if you're new here, welcome. I have an awful garbage mouth. And if you're not into that or weird shit in general, then this is probably not the place for you. Feel free to X out the video here. No harm, no foul, but I'll remember our time fondly. If you want to jump straight to the swatches and the overall review, I'll leave a time code down below. Feel free to jump ahead. So before I actually jump into my story, I do want to say a special thank you to two people that left me some stuff in my P.O. box. So let me show you what I got. The first thing I got was from Lee, and it's this adorable Halloween card. I love Lee. Lee's awesome. She always leaves like the nicest comments and she gives me so much support, and Lee, I really appreciate you and I thank you so much. I really do. And she left me a really nice note on the inside of it, and this card obviously screams me. So I will cherish this and love this forever, and I just really, really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to write me this lovely note and sending this to me. I love it. So thank you. The next thing I got is actually from Nikkimomo, and if you're not familiar with her, I will leave her channel down below. She is another awesome YouTuber. She specializes in cosplay stuff. She also does makeup reviews and everything like that too, but like I think her specialty is more cosplay, and she's really fucking talented and she's really good at it, and she creates these awesome just things that I just wish I had the talent for, and she's really cool. So I'm gonna definitely link her channel down below. Feel free to check her out. She made this for me and I fucking love it. It's so cute. But the thing that kills me the most are the little clips that she makes. Girl made me some Halloween clips and I love them so much. And I know I put a picture of them on Instagram. Look how cute this is. She made it. How adorable. This is me in ghost form. I adore it. These are so fucking cool, and she's like I said, she's super talented. She's super nice. She also left me an incredibly nice note, which I super appreciate. And she drew a little pumpkin on the bottom, which warms my little heart. And she left me her cosplay card, which, here you go. That's what it looks like. Pretty badass. Love it. So like I mentioned, I'm going to link her channel down below. Feel free to check her out. She's really, really cool. And I love these clips. They're fucking awesome. I love them so much. Thank you, Nikki. I do fucking appreciate it. I love your adorable little face. So thank you so much. And if you guys ever want to send me something, my P.O. box is actually in the description of every video. Please don't ever think it's like an obligation that you should send me something. Please don't. It's just if you want to send me something, I'll be more than happy to receive it because I love and adore you all. So thank you. So today's story is actually kind of a weird one. It's like a weird work story, and I don't understand what happened. But all right, so long story short, I had to attend a meeting with this guy named Pete, right? Pete has an assistant. His name is John. So there's Pete, Pete's the boss, John is the assistant to Pete. In the meetings that I have with Pete, John usually attends them because John sits and takes notes and whatever, right? So in this particular meeting, about 5 minutes into it, John says,
"Excuse me, I have to get another pen."
And we're like, okay, sure. So John leaves the room and me and Pete are just like bullshitting or whatever. And we're waiting for John to come back. 5 minutes goes by, 10 minutes goes by, 15 minutes goes by. Now Pete's like,
"This is really strange. Like, I'm gonna go check to see if like maybe he's in the bathroom or something happened or whatever. I'll be right back."
Pete leaves. I'm sitting there dicking around on my phone. Pete comes back a couple minutes later. He goes,
"I can't find him."
"So what do you mean you can't find him?"
"I don't know, like his stuff's gone. Like he's not in the bathroom, his stuff's not there. The other admin said that he just took his stuff and left."
So now we're like, oh shit, like maybe something happened to him. Like maybe he got a call or something, like a family emergency. I don't know, like maybe something bad happened to him. So for the remainder of the day, all I keep thinking about is what happened to John, right? Like, I don't know. And I don't personally know John that well. Like I don't have his phone number. So every time that I go talk to Pete, Pete would try to reach out to John and it would just go straight to voicemail. Now Pete's really kind of freaking out at this point. So the day comes and goes, whatever. No sign of John at all. The next day, before I get into my building, there's like an area where there's some benches and you know, people usually sit on the benches. It's usually like old or homeless people, honestly, that sit on those benches. So as I'm like walking past the bench, I kind of like did a double take and there's John. There's John. John's just sitting there smoking a cigarette, drinking some coffee and drawing. So I stop, tap John on the shoulder. I'm like, "Hey buddy, you all right? Like everything okay?"
"Oh. Yeah, I'm fine.
I said, "Oh, okay, because you left yesterday. Me and Pete, we didn't know where you went, and then we didn't see you for the remainder of the day. Just want to make sure you're okay, like everything's okay at home."
"Oh yeah, no, it's fine. I just couldn't find a pen."
I said, "Okay." I said, "Where did you go?"
"Home."
"Huh, okay. Well, I guess I'll see you inside, and you have a good rest of your morning."
"Oh yeah, you too, Theresa."
I fucking walk into work like trying not to laugh because I never in a million fucking years have I ever heard somebody literally leaving their job to go home because they couldn't find a fucking pen. So later in the day, I had to go to Pete's office and I saw John was sitting at his desk, you know, with pen in hand. I went to go talk to Pete and Pete was like,
Yeah, I can't discuss it right now."
So I don't really know what exactly happened. I don't know what John told Pete or whatever, and quite frankly, it's none of my fucking business, but it's shit like that that actually makes my job interesting. So All right, I'm gonna make a mental note next time to, if I really just want to duck out of something, just say I need to get a pen and just get the fuck out of there, because that's a pretty good excuse. So yeah. On today's video, we're gonna be talking about the Morphe 35M Boss Mood palette. But before I give you my overall thoughts, let me read you a little bit about this palette. The 35M Boss Mood Artistry palette retails for $24. 35 Take Charge shades. Ready to show the world who's the boss? We thought so. This amped up color palette of multi-dimensional metallics and crazy creamy mattes will help you live large and take charge. The finishes in this palette are either metallic and matte. If we are going to be completely honest on this channel, I could give two shits about the fucking last 3 rows, and I only purchased this palette for the top 2 rows because you bitch loves green. If I'm not on a hashtag quest for yellow, I'm on a hashtag quest for green, and that's just how it is. I wasn't going to pick this palette up, but then a couple of you guys asked me to review it, and then the more I stared at the green, the more I was like, ooh, okay, I give bitch, I'm gonna get it. Now I only say that because I have a very weird relationship with Morphe. I love the Morphe Jaclyn Hill palette, the original palette, because that is the best palette. I do have a couple Morphe like 35 pan palettes and like the little 9 pan palettes, and it's okay. They're not my favorite thing. I never gravitate towards them. Honestly, when I look at them, I get overwhelmed because of the amount of fucking shades that are in there. And I know that sounds incredibly stupid, but honestly, when I see so much color that looks exactly the same, quite frankly, I get overwhelmed and I can't think, and then I have an anxiety attack and I have to put the palette down and I have to gravitate towards something more simple, and that's just me. And I'm pretty sure you guys can relate, and if you can't, then you're a fucking liar, because it's absolutely true. Now with that said, I don't know why I'm so aggressive today. Oh, grr. And then the other reason why I didn't really gravitate towards this, because I had a really shitty experience with the Jaclyn Hill Vault collection. I liked 1 out of the 4 palettes and it was garbage and it wasn't worth the money. I kind of wrote Morphe off a little bit based off my experience with it. I'm happy to say that this doesn't have anything to do with the quality of that Jaclyn Hill shit show. I'm super happy to say that. But is this the most amazing quality you're ever gonna use? Absolutely not. Like, it really isn't. I actually think ColourPop is better than them, and yeah, I said it, so fight me. I don't give a shit. But with that said, I'm happy that I picked this up, because I think out of all the Morphe palettes, and I mean literally there's like 500 fucking Morphe palettes of almost the same shade range, this is unique, especially for these 2 green rows, because you don't have a lot of palettes that actually do a huge dedication to green, and I like it. I really do. I think out of all the Morphe palettes that I've ever owned and played with, actually I take that back. Jaclyn Hill, to me, the original palette is always going to be my #1 favorite. It's going to be the end all be all, the best Morphe palette ever. I do like this one though, and had there not been these 2 rows, I would have never picked it up. I would have never even looked at it. Really gonna focus all my energy on the green shades, because that's the kind of the most that I've really played with it, with the exception of today's look where I did some sort of purple eye, because I didn't want to do completely 2 different green looks, although I really wanted to. I thought that wouldn't be right. Let me also kind of dip into the rest of the palette, because after all, I did pay for it, right? I love these 2 rows. I think they're perfect. Some shades I think work a little bit better than others, meaning that some shades I experienced like a really good amount of pigment with a little bit of product, which was awesome. And then there were some shades that I actually just had to like really build it up because the pigment wasn't there that much. For the matte shades, there was a little bit of fog, there was a little bit kick up in the pan. Nothing too crazy, but it was enough where you had to like blow to get the excess out of the pan. Did not experience that with any of the shimmers. The shimmers are creamy, pigmented, beautiful. They work wet or dry. However, I use the Morphe setting spray to enhance and pop that bitch. I did also try to use this with a Morphe primer, the eyeshadow primer, and the Morphe eyeshadow primer is fucking garbage. Do not waste your money or time or energy into that fucking primer. It's stupid, it's gross, and it makes your eyelids oily. And I chuck that shit in the garbage where it belongs. So for today's looks, I use a concealer base, and I found that it worked very well. Like I said, I really have nothing bad to say about these 2 rows here, because they're perfect. And even though some of the greens might look a little similar, they're actually very different, and they have like different undertones, which is really nice. So in the terms of those greens, I'm actually going to show you a swatch that I did using the Melt Cosmetics palette and the Good Sport ColourPop palette. And the only reason why I thought of the Good Sport ColourPop palette is because there's an awesome YouTuber on here. Her name is Paulina Beauty. If you are not familiar with her, you should go check her out, and I'll leave her link down below. She actually posted the swatches of this palette, comparing it to this palette, and I was like, bitch, I've been had. Like, it's almost identical. So for example, these 3 shades are from Melt Cosmetics, these 2 shades are from the ColourPop Good Sport palette, and then these 3 shades are from Morphe. So I think bottom line is, if you have the Melt Cosmetics palette and you have the Good Sport palette, I don't necessarily think you need to own this palette. Even though I had no issue with the quality of this palette, I still think that this palette and the Melt Cosmetics palette is way better. Now for today's eye look, I kind of went a little crazy, and this is my own human error. I really had no issue with using any of these eyeshadows. Like I mentioned before, some work a little bit better than others, and I also found that that is the same kind of case for these purple shades as well. Some were really beautifully pigmented, and then the other ones were kind of like, all right, you kind of need to like pack on to make the color stick. But when it was there, it looked wonderful. Now this eye, honestly, it took me 3 tries to do something because I kept fucking shit up, and it has nothing to do with the palette. It's my own human error because I was trying to get fancy for y'all, because like I keep forgetting that I'm not a makeup artist, and I was trying to do weird kind of color combinations and trying to like make things pop, and just it didn't really work out to my benefit, so I literally scrapped this eye look a bunch of fucking times today. So with that said, for $24, you know, I definitely think this palette is worth it. I think it's really pretty, and if you're really into the green shades, I think you're going to enjoy them. However, like I mentioned before, if you have the Melt Cosmetics palette and if you have that ColourPop palette, I don't think necessarily you need to pick this up. You could totally skip out on it because yeah, it's just not necessary. But if you're a makeup hoarder like me, then fucking go buy it. Who am I to tell you otherwise? So yeah, I don't know, like I'm happy that I have this, but it's definitely something that I really technically didn't need in my collection. So oh well. I do also want to mention that I am going to be purchasing the James Charles Morphe palette because I support a good sister. However, I'm not going to get it on launch day because I refuse to buy anything through the fucking Morphe website anymore because their return policy is fucking garbage. I'm just going to order it through Ulta because I know if I hate it, at least I can return it. So expect that review sometime in the next 2 weeks or so. And yeah, all right, I guess that's about it. I want to say thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate it as always. Feel free to like, comment, hit that subscribe button. It's free. And hit that bell icon for notification of all my future posts. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And I'll see you little pumpkins later. Bye.